Officially, we'll get started. Welcome to the Meet the Candidates Forum, co-hosted by Noon Kiwanis and Access Television. I'm Sarah Duffy, and I'm Vice President of Noon Kiwanis. It's our privilege to provide this opportunity for residents to become familiar with the people running for the mayor's office. Today's forum will be broadcast several times on PEG Access prior to elections on Tuesday, November 8th. We will also upload a link to Noon Kiwanis' Facebook page and the city's website. I am pleased to be your moderator for this last of the forums in this series. Previously, last week, we had forums, as many of you know, and were present at for the city council candidates. Today, we will meet candidates for mayor. We have Ben Shire, Randy Sinstolin, and Amanda Whitney. Of course, the mayor represents all citizens in Fergus Falls, and there will be a ballot question in all polling locations in the city. Before we get started today, I'll go over some ground rules that we'll follow. We'll open today with the candidates introducing themselves and sharing with us why they are running for mayor. They will have 3 minutes for this introduction. After that, we'll go into the question and answer sessions. There are 6 questions. We will rotate who answers first so there is no unfair advantage. The answer period for each question will be 2 minutes. Jean here will serve as timekeeper today, and she will wave the yellow flag when there's 30 seconds and the red flag when the time is up. All candidates have seen these questions, so there is no unfair advantage to going first. We'll start the clock when the candidates begin speaking. If you need me to repeat a question, just ask me and I'd be happy to do so. We'll conclude today by offering a 2-minute opportunity for each candidate to close with a closing statement. Again, we ask that the audience please respectively listen to each of the candidates' answers and avoid conversations during the forum. Also, please hold your applause until the end, and please turn off your cell phones. I'd also like to ask the candidates to speak into the microphone so everyone can hear your answers to the questions. So, without further ado, we will get started with our opening statements. Again, each candidate will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves and tell us why they are running for mayor. We will start with Mr. Shire.
Thank you, Sarah. Thanks to Noon Kiwanis for hosting these forums, and thanks for everyone for taking time out of your day to be here, and to those watching on TV. My name is Ben Shire. My wife Tessa and I both grew up in Fergus Falls. We both graduated from high school in Fergus Falls, and we both moved away from Fergus Falls. We lived in a number of different communities, a number of different states. I spent some time overseas, but we both, independent of each other, we both moved back to Fergus Falls because this is where we wanted to live. 2004 was a very busy year for Tessa and I. We got married, we started a family, and I was elected to the Fergus Falls City Council for the first time at the age of 30. That was 12 years ago, and lots has happened in our community since then, and lots has happened to Tessa and I. We now have 5 children, the oldest of which is 12, the youngest of which is 5. My wife and I and my family are very invested and involved in this community. We're members of the Federated Church. I've served on the board of managers. I've served as an elder in the church. My wife has served on the fellowship committee. We've both taught Sunday school. My oldest son and I play in the praise band together in the church, so we're proud members of the Federated Church. Our family is also very involved in the Center for the Arts, in the library, in the Caddis Galleries. We've coached our kids' sports teams, soccer, baseball, Girl Scouts, Cub Scouts. We're very involved in this community. In 2015, Tessa and I took the big leap, and we started our own business in downtown Fergus Falls, Union Pizza and Brewing Company. And all my time, 8 years on the city council, there's no experience that has taught me more about this community and what this community is all about than the last 2 years of running our own business in downtown Fergus Falls. I'm running for mayor because I believe in this community. I'm running for mayor because I'm excited about this community. I believe there's an energy in this community right now that exists that didn't exist 12 years ago. I believe we've made a lot of progress, but I believe there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and I'm running for mayor because I want to do it.
Thank you. Mr. Sinstelen.
Well, good afternoon, and my thanks to the Noon Kiwanis and Gene Bowman for coordinating that, and Jim Francis and Access Television for making this available for the residents of Fergus Falls. I'm Randy Sinstelen. I'm a conservative farm boy from Ashby, Minnesota. I've called Fergus Falls home for the past 25 years. In November, my wife Karma and I will be celebrating our 28th wedding anniversary. We have 9 children, 3 still at home. We also have 4 grandchildren who live in Fergus Falls. And I gotta tell you, hearing the word Papa from my grandkids is one of the most rewarding sounds in life. As you, the voters of Fergus Falls, evaluate who you want as your mayor in the next 4 years, I want you to know what you're getting when you vote Randy Sinstelen for mayor. Here are 3 core values that were instilled in my growing up years on the dairy farm. The importance of those core values have grown stronger throughout my life. First, the importance of God in my life. For me, it is vital to acknowledge God in all my ways, in everything I do, in decisions at life, at work, at home, in raising a family, and yes, in civic activities. I recognize that in the areas that I acknowledge God, He has a way of directing my path. And as it turns out, He has a far better vantage point than I do when it relates to the problems and the hurdles and the issues and the circumstances in life that I face. Second, valuing the place we live. We live in the greatest country on earth, the land of opportunity, freedom, prosperity. I don't take that for granted. I recognize that it came at a price, and I'll continue to stand and show respect for our flag and our country when the national anthem is played. And I'm grateful to the men and women of the armed forces, past and present, who have served our country. In my opinion, Fergus Falls is at its finest when the Walk of Flags is displayed in our community as it is today. And I applaud the volunteers who make the Fergus Falls Veterans Walk of Flags such a stunning display of patriotism while honoring our veterans. Third, valuing people. My goal is to treat you with respect whether I see eye to eye with you or not. And as your mayor, I can't promise that I'll agree with you on all city issues, but I will aim to show you respect as we discuss differing perspectives and alternatives. I expect that in the next 4 years, there will be ample opportunity for us as a city to navigate a healthy tension as we work toward resolving many topics, including the Kirkbride building, Lake Alice, riverfront development opportunities, expanding water parks and splash pads, and as your mayor, I'll work towards creating an environment where those ideas can be exchanged.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney.
I hope everybody's having a good day, enjoying the fall weather. I'm sure we won't have very many days like this. I'm Amanda Whitney, and I'm a single mother. I was born and raised in Ottertail County. I grew up on a farm on County Road 14 just south of Richville. Being in a rural area, we were split between towns based on business. We had a Dent phone number, a Richville address, and we graduated from Perm High School and went shopping in Fergus Falls. Fleet Farm was our most visited store, but to my dismay in my youth, no. I decided to run for mayor to give inspiration to those who think they have small voices. Plus, I'm tired of seeing what I have been witnessing driving around in the Pizza Ranch delivery car. I have seen things everyday citizens have not seen or don't care to address, such as a poverty status, homelessness, and drugs. And of course, the infrastructure, including the roads and their empty buildings that make Fergus Falls look like a ghost town. We have but 2 choices: do something about it or don't do something about it. I am motivated by the people's voices.
Thank you. Now we will proceed with our question and answer format. We will start with Ben again. And the first question involves the local government aid, or the LGA. With large fluctuations in local government aid, this program and budgeting in general has been an item of concern for the city. Please comment on what you see as priorities the city needs to consider in regards to its budget.
Sure, thanks, Sarah. This is a great question. I think, first of all, we need to look at what local government aid is and what it means to this city. Too often, we throw about, oh, if local government aid goes away, or in St. Paul, they punt it around like a partisan football. Local government aid was established in 1971 by Governor Wendell Anderson as part of the Minnesota Miracle. It was a time when government worked in Minnesota. Local government aid was established to reduce fiscal disparities and ease the property tax burden on families and businesses in rural communities. So we have to fight for local government aid. We cannot just simply say local government aid might go away. That's something that's worth fighting for. It's the viability of rural communities in this state, and we need to fight for local government aid. That's first and foremost. If local government aid went away in 2017, for the city to maintain the exact same level of services that were proposed to provide, immediately the tax levy would go up by 65%. This is an incredibly important issue, and we need to be in St. Paul fighting for this issue, and I will do that. As far as the general budgeting process, I think it's a balance between what we can do. It's between the growth of the city, but then being fiscally responsible to our citizens at the same time. Yes, we need to look to our next property tax statement, but we also need to look to the next generation, what we're leaving behind for them. So I think it's a balance. And of course, if we're going to continue to provide and increase the services that we provide to our residents, we have to grow our tax base. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sinstelen.
I would echo Ben's sentiments with local government aid in that it certainly is a component of the funds that we use as a city to provide the services that we do, and so I don't disagree with Ben on that. For budget priorities, safety first, always. Ronald Reagan said it well. Government's first duty is protect the people, not run their lives. Police and fire protection are top on my list, and the city is fortunate to have quality firefighters led by Chief Hovland and the police officers and staff led by Chief Berggren. Quality people doing good work. Infrastructure would be my second priority. Streets, water, sewer, refuse services, all things that we take for granted when they're working well. I have a little time left, and I'd like to talk about the library referendum. I'm going to be voting yes on November 8th, and I'd encourage others to do the same. I'd like to expound on why I'm voting yes. First, it's a good project, one that reinforces Fergus as a regional center and a destination for the surrounding area. Second, it is a special interest project done the right way, using a process that unites the community rather than divides it. I applaud Erin Smith and her staff, the library board, and the Friends of the Library, and the Library Foundation for their efforts in fundraising. And I commend the council for bringing this to the voters so that they can demonstrate their support for the project. Let's talk a little bit about sales tax and how that's meant for paying for the project. First, it has no impact on your property tax. It's a voluntary tax. It kicks in only when you choose to buy taxable items in Fergus Falls. It broadens the audience of who pays for the project, and it reaches beyond just those within city limits. And my time is up.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney?
We need to radically simplify local government by updating priorities and eliminating waste. We must not mortgage the future. We must work together to build a future that continues to create opportunity to all people for all stages of life.
Thank you. The next question also pertains to the city's budget. The city's 2016 budget is just over $42 million annually. Please tell us about your budget and finance experience, demonstrating how you would be a fiscally responsible candidate. And we will start with Mr. Sinstelen.
I have a bachelor's degree in accounting from Moorhead State University. I've worked the past 25 years at Otter Tail Power Company in positions of development, project management, purchasing, resource planning, all of which have required financial analysis, planning, forecasting, and budgeting. I played a key role in developing, permitting, and implementing Otter Tail Power Company's wind farms, which is a total of $300 million in successful projects. I continue to play a key role in planning future electrical generation projects that are in Otter Tail Power Company's future. Budgeting and finance-related issues are a key part of my day-to-day work at Otter Tail Power Company. I believe that the skill sets I have and disciplines developed and deployed over my 25 years at Otter Tail can be put to good use as your mayor. I've also been involved in the city's budgeting process during the 8 years I served on the council. There's a lot of moving parts when it comes to the city's budgeting process. And the city is very fortunate to have Bill Sunmore and his staff that are dedicated, diligent employees, and I commend them for their attention to detail and process as they navigate a complex financial environment. They do good work, and I bring a strong financial background and a good bit of common sense that will complement the budget process.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Ms. Whitney?
It is a common everyday necessity to be financially responsible. As a single mother and also as an entrepreneur with 2 multi-level marketing companies such as Mary Kay and Paparazzi Accessories. Also, as a manager at Pizza Ranch, it is my responsibility to pay attention to efficiencies and budgets. My philosophy is people first, then things.
Thank you. Mr. Shire?
Yeah. So I think the first thing that a mayor or city council can do in regards to this is make sure that we have qualified people inside City Hall running the day-to-day operations of our city. And I will say right now that I think City Hall is in better shape than it's been in the 12 years that I've been involved in local government. Bill Sonmore, I don't think anyone who's ever met Bill Sonmore or worked with Bill Sonmore has one thing other than exceptional praise for the work that he does. Our city is in good fiscal position, and so we need to make sure that we maintain the qualified individuals in City Hall to run the day-to-day operations of our city. As far as my personal experience, I've served 8 years on the city council. That means I've gone through the budget process 8 times. I've served twice as the chair of the Finance and Personnel Committee. I've served on the tax levy committee twice. I've gone through the budgets of Center for the Arts. I was on the founding board of the Cadets, our church budget. I've gone through all that. I think all that experience makes me as qualified as anybody, but I will say this, the experience I've gained the last 2 years with my wife running a business, starting a business from scratch, running the day-to-day operations of our business, and probably most importantly, making payroll for the 44 people that have been employed for us over the last 2 years, that's experience I don't think you can get anywhere else.
Thank you. Our next question looks at economic growth for Fergus Falls, and I think we've all seen economic growth happening in our city over the last couple years. Please describe your vision for economic growth in Fergus Falls and the steps that you will take to achieve progress toward that goal. We'll start with Ms. Whitney.
My vision is to keep the small town charm with the convenience of modern efficiencies. We also need to strive to eliminate our global footprint. It is knocking at our doorstep. California is 15 years ahead of us in terms of cultural trends and economic development. They have 2 cities expected to run on renewable energy by 2020. Scientists have warned us about fossil fuels, and once they are gone, they are gone. We need to find a solution to help eliminate the poverty status and be proactive to fight drugs, hunger, and homelessness in our communities, along with economic development, such as infrastructure.
Thank you. Mr. Shire.
Yeah, obviously this is a very important issue, economic development. I think we need to continue the work that we've been doing. We need to continue going after the 25 and the 50 job businesses. We need We need to continue that work. But I think we need to also realize that every other community our size across the country is also going after those same 25 and 50 job businesses. So what we need to focus on is what makes this community unique and what is special. Why are these businesses? And we also need to go after the 1 and 2 job businesses. We need to go after the entrepreneurs. But we need to focus on what makes this community unique. All the development on the west side of town is great, but every other community our size in the country has those things. What we have that's unique is our river and our beautiful historic downtown. We need to focus on those. As far as specifics, how about we create a mayor's task force to work with the EIC on a 4-year strategic vision to say, hey, how is the city of Fergus Falls going to capitalize on some economic growth trends right now? Bioscience, agriculture, healthcare, food. How about we create monthly entrepreneurial meetings and create a business launch pad to help those entrepreneurs get their ideas into reality? How about if we work with the state legislature to create Renaissance zones? Other cities have done it. We have vacant buildings out there. Let's create Renaissance zones with tax incentives for our community. How about if we do something as simple as promote home fix-up and have funds available so we're proud of all of our community, of all of our neighborhoods? How about we bring back spring cleanup day? These are little things we can do that could go a long way. But I think at the end of the day, any business that moves to town is about relationships. There's some sort of relationship that's been built. And I believe that I have 8 years of experience, and I think that I've proven that I'm a relationship builder.
Thank you. Mr. Sinstelin?
In my opinion, the best thing the city can do to aid economic growth in Fergus Falls is provide critical infrastructure at a reasonable cost, and then get out of the way so that entrepreneurs like Ben and his family have started so that they can be successful. Fergus Falls should be a city that provides an environment for existing businesses to grow and be successful, and be a city that welcomes new businesses to the community. Fergus Falls is a regional center, and it is a destination for the region's commerce, healthcare services, government services, education, both private and public. One of the metrics used to measure economic health of a community is jobs. There are approximately 10,000 jobs in Fergus Falls, of which 68% are businesses with less than 150 employees. That's small business. And in my opinion, small business has the largest potential for growth in Fergus Falls. The city, through Amy Baldwin as the director of the Economic Improvement Commission, is working with other entities of similar focus, such as West Central Initiative, the Chamber of Commerce, Great River Energy, Otter Tail Power Company, all with an aim to promote the economic health of the region. When the region is economically healthy, Fergus Falls, as its regional center, benefits greatly. I will take a moment here and just applaud an area of Fergus Falls that is tremendously significant, and that being healthcare. 4 of the top 10 employers in Fergus Falls that represent 1,600 employees, or 16% of the jobs in Fergus Falls, have invested tens of millions of dollars in this organization, and they very much need to be applauded. And so I want to just thank and cheerlead for that industry that's doing very well. Thank you.
Thank you. So there are a lot of things facing the city and issues that fall under the mayor's umbrella. What are your top 3 priorities for the city? And we will start with Mr. Shire.
Sure. So 3 priorities. First would be, like I mentioned in the last question, I think we need to focus as a community on what makes us unique. So my number 1 priority is going to be the river. We have a beautiful river that runs through our community, but you might be hard-pressed to know that unless you go looking for it. We have parking lots and vacant, dilapidated industrial buildings on our river. We can't do this overnight. We have to take a 10, 15-year approach, but we can start that work and we can get that work done. In conjunction with the river, I think we need to include our beautiful and historic downtown. Those are things that make Fergus unique, and we need to build on those. That's number 1 priority. Second thing, I think, is we have to make sure in this day and age, we live in an incredibly safe community. Our police department does a wonderful job. Kyle Berggren is overqualified. Don't tell him I said that because he's going to ask for a raise. But we have a safe community, but in the day, this is a different world we live in than we did 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And we need to make sure that we're proactive and continue to make sure that this community is safe. Simple things like making sure that our roads are well maintained for our cars and our bicycles to ride on, sidewalks, crosswalks, making sure that we have safe schools. We need to not take our eye out and just take it for granted that this is a safe community. We need to be proactive and continue to make sure that this is always a safe community and our residents feel safe. And lastly, I guess you can't have a priority list without putting jobs. We got to have jobs. It's got to be living wage jobs for families. We got to have, when we bring people to this community, there's got to be jobs to support those families.
Thank you. Mr. Senselin.
A key role of the mayor is to be a facilitator. One of my top priorities would be to encourage processes where the city council, staff, business community, and residents can respectfully exchange ideas on topics, some of which may be controversial, and the spectrum of opinions can be very far apart. But to exchange those ideas in a professional and non-threatening way. For me, it matters how things get done, and the process of building consensus is an important aspect of the mayor's job. It's a key component of building community together. From a project perspective, I believe the following 3 items to be a priority. Completing the library project, if the voters say yes, and I encourage people to vote yes. Coming to resolution on the future of the Kirkbride building. And developing a plan that includes potential funding mechanisms to address aging infrastructure, streets, water, sewer, and the associated treatment plants. Those I would view as my top priorities at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney.
My top priorities would be economic development, building up our current infrastructure, fixing roads, bridges, parking lots, and empty buildings, and fixing our social issues, and modernization of energies. Improving child development, we need more and more affordable daycare facilities to match the economic efficiencies of family and businesses. And community engagement. We need to bridge the generational gaps to make the community more youth-friendly and at the same time to keep the peace and quiet for our elders.
Thank you. A long-standing issue for the city has been the Kirkbride building. What is your perspective on the Kirkbride building? And we will start with Mr. Senselin.
The Kirkbride building is an impressive structure, and as much of it as possible should be redeveloped, as long as it's economically feasible to do so and it does not put city taxpayers at risk. In February of this year, well in advance of the construction season, I believe the City Council made a grave mistake when a group of local investors wanted to present a proposal to the city regarding the Kirkbride. But the city said, no, we won't even look at it. It was a split vote, 4 council members in favor, 4 council members opposed, with the mayor casting the deciding vote, opposing even to look at the proposal. As your mayor, you can be assured that my vote would have been different. The proposal would have been analyzed and given due consideration. The city needs to work with local investors who are already committed to this community and have much at stake to make a project work. And in my opinion, I hope that the council invites those local investors back to the table to discuss their proposal. And in a lot of ways, as a city, we just need to move on. And I do respect the sentiments and the nostalgia that's associated with the building. And it is an impressive structure. And I do want to see as much of it saved as possible. And as a community, we need to move forward on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Whitney.
So many people here in Fergus Falls want to keep the Kirkbride building, and I truly think it has a potential to be something great. I am in support of making it a college or something that would benefit the people and the community.
Thank you. Mr. Shire.
Sure. Yes, this is an issue that we've been dealing with for the last 10 years. To the vote that Randy mentioned, I just want to make note that I did vote in favor of hearing the proposal from the local developers.
You did.
So the Kirkbride complex is an enormous, complex, and beautiful structure. I think we can all agree on that. The issue about the Kirkbride has become an enormous, complex, and not so beautiful issue to deal with. We've been dealing with it for 10 years, since we took ownership of that building from the state. I think two things need to happen with the Kirkbride. We need to make a plan that includes compromise. We need to make a plan that works for this community. We need to make a plan that is realistic and completely implemented, and we need to go forward with that plan. For 10 years, we've been kicking the can down the road. Both councils I've been involved in and both in councils that I haven't been involved in. We've been kicking the can down the road. We need to put together a realistic plan that works and put it in place. Second thing we need to do is when we put that plan in place, the state needs to be a partner in that plan. We took that building over from the state. That was a state problem that we said we're going to step up and try to make this work. The dirty little secret is when the state gave us $7.3 million because that was the estimate that they had to demolish that building. When we went to take the incinerator down, they had estimated it was going to cost us $500,000. It cost us close to $2 million. There was never enough money. We need to go back to the state and say, hey, state, we're trying to deal with your problem, but you need to be a partner in this. We have a realistic plan. This is what we think we can have. It involves compromise, and we're going to put that plan in place.
Thank you. Our last question today is a three-part question pertaining to time commitment. Serving as mayor for the city is a big time commitment and can be unpredictable. Please tell us about your ability to serve in this capacity, how you will be accessible to constituents, and whether or not you will keep office hours. And we will start with Ms. Whitney.
I have a knack for multitasking and prioritizing my time. I enjoy listening to people's opinions and have no problem being available. I will always be readily available to perform my mayor duties. My schedule of both business and personal are always flexible. My first priority will be the people of the community, and I will be there when they need me, whether I am in the office or out of it.
Thank you. Mr. Shire.
Sure. So this is a question that I get asked quite a bit. Like this year, two prospective candidates asked me, and I've heard it quite often, boy, do I have the time to do this? Do I have the time to put into this? How much time does it take? Do I have time? And I always tell them the same thing. I always say, everyone I think has the time to do it, but do you have the passion and the commitment to make the time to do it right? I think that's the important question. And I think I've proven over the last eight years on the city council that I do have the commitment and the passion to make the time to do it right. Yes, I'm a busy man. Before we sat down, before I put my name on the ballot, my wife Tessa and I sat down and we discussed this. Is this something that we feel strongly enough about that we're going to commit the time to do it right? We agree that it was important to us. As far as being accessible, people know where I am at, I think. I've always been accessible. That's one of the things I first ran on. I thought that it was very important that I've always believed that people have access to their local representatives, because this is the best form of government. This form of government works, local government. When I go to service food, guess what? Someone's going to stop me and ask me about something that happened on the city council, and I like that. I like that. As far as office hours, I do plan on keeping, my schedule will allow and be flexible enough that I will be able to keep some office hours. I don't know exactly what that would be at this point, but yes, I would plan on keeping office hours.
Thank you. Mr. Sinsland.
I'm fortunate to be employed at a company that encourages and is very supportive of its employees being engaged in community activity. In fact, Otter Tail Power Company's mission statement includes a commitment to improve the quality of life in the areas it serves. And in evaluating the question of time commitment, I would echo Ben's sentiment that yes, I am very busy. And I would work very closely with city staff, city administration to keep that calendar open so that there would be times when folks call City Hall, they would be able to schedule times for those meetings to take place. And as far as formal business hours or office hours at City Hall, the short answer is I don't know the answer to that right now, and it would be a supply and demand type answer. So as folks are requiring more of that time, I would make myself available to have that. But from a practical perspective, email is likely going to be the most readily form of accessibility and being able to navigate a prompt response and such. So using technology to our advantage is going to be a key part. And as far as unpredictable, I would tend to say that the majority of the speaking engagements and meetings are scheduled well in advance and certainly could be incorporated into a calendar.
Thank you. This comes to the end of our question and answer session. We'll wrap up by hearing closing statements from each of you as to why residents should vote for you. Again, these will be 2 minutes, and we will start with Ms. Whitney, and then Mr. Sinstelen, and then finish with Mr. Shire. Ms. Whitney.
Thank you for having me here today. I know that I don't have the experience as some of you maybe would prefer. The thing about me is that I have a lot of heart for the people in general. You know, people of this community, people of this world, people of this country. That's who I am. I'm a protector of people. And the thing that I have been seeing in this community, in this country, we need to make a change. And each and every one of you has the ability to step up and do what I'm doing. I want to inspire everybody here today and out in the community to take action and be a part of the political process, because it once was for the people, not just politicians. A vote for me is a vote building towards the future.
Thank you. Mr. Sinstelen.
Well, again, I want to thank you, Sarah and the Noon Kiwanis and those that put this event on. You are providing a valuable service to the residents of Fergus Falls. Thank you for doing that. As we wrap up today, I leave you with these final thoughts. Fergus Falls is a great place to call home. It's a great place to work, to raise a family, to worship with friends and neighbors. We have a solid history and a bright future. And I believe the best days are in front of us and not behind us. I'd consider it an honor to be your mayor, and I have the background to step in efficiently in the role of mayor with the depth of understanding to navigate the mechanics of city government. So on November 8th, I respectfully request you, the voters of Fergus Falls, to vote Randy Sinstelen for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shire.
Yeah, thanks again, Sarah, and thanks to Noon Kiwanis. To everyone here, this room's full. It's exciting to see that people care enough about their city government to come and take an hour out of their day to listen to us blow hot air, right? No. In all honesty, I'm asking for your support on November 8th because I believe I have the proven leadership and the experience to bring people together around common sense issues and common sense solutions that work for the city of Fergus Falls. I'm asking you for support because my wife and I believe in this community, we're invested in this community, and we have the commitment and the passion to move this community forward. And finally, as I mentioned in the beginning, I truly believe in this community. I'm excited about this community. I think our best days are ahead of us. There is a lot of work to be done, and I'm running for mayor because I want to be the one to do it. Thank you. I appreciate your support on November 8th.
Thank you. I'd like to thank, on behalf of Noon Kiwanis and Access Television, our candidates and everyone else for attending today. I hope you have learned a lot and enjoyed this forum so far. And please remember to vote on November 8th. Voting is the most important, I think, civic privilege that we all have. So please remember to vote on November 8th. And thanks again for coming.
I don't think I did.